All right, we are on. And today we have Gael Wood with us from Feng Shui Elevation. I think we'll just wait a minute or two, or at least a minute, to see who's coming on, and maybe we can do a little of the preliminaries first, like how we met. So for those of you who are going to go back and watch this recording, I'm not seeing anybody on yet on this Monday morning, but those of you who are going to go back and watch, who are coming on later, well, first of all, welcome, 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 welcome. At any point when you show up, the Gael Wood is actually someone that I know from way back. And for those of you who don't know, geographically, I'm in northeastern Tennessee, and Gael Wood is tucked away about an hour away from me
Mhm.
in Boone, North Carolina, and we met, believe it or not, on Facebook in a group that Leonie Dawson, this really awesome coach and creative person, business person, a group that she had, and I think, Gail, it was you that actually said, "Hey, we should meet up sometime." And eventually we did. I took one of your CE courses when you
Mhm.
were teaching courses for massage therapists. So hi, Joe. Welcome, welcome. So, Gail, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I know we have this in common that we're both massage therapists. So I've been a licensed massage therapist for 25 years. And about 6 or 7 years ago, around the time where we met, I just felt like I was ready to do something different. And I saw people with online businesses, they were writing ebooks, they were making courses. And I thought, hey, I want to try that. That looks pretty cool. I was really tired of having to work long hours at the spa, be away from my kids. So I jumped into Leonie's group where we met and just started a process of transitioning from hands-on business to online business. As part of all of that, as part of my journey, I got really interested in Feng Shui and started studying Feng Shui. And I felt like it really helped me as I was transitioning from part time massage and part time online to going full time online. I felt like Feng Shui really helped me to just get to that level where I felt comfortable saying goodbye to my day job.
Yeah, yeah, I caught you at the tail end of that too. Um, I'm looking back, I'm really grateful that we actually got to meet face to face in that venue. But yeah, I've been watching your online progress for a while, and you actually have another online business called Massage and Spa Success, right?
Yeah.
And that I've been watching for years and years and years. And then when I went to go and get my massage CEs for this coming licensure period, the first person I looked for was you to see what you had going on, and then I looked at, like, your site was under construction and there were no more live classes, and I'm thinking, I've got to get in touch with her. She's got something going on here, that she's in an evolution. So then finally I saw that you had the Feng Shui Elevation
Mhm.
site, and it's like, oh wow. And that's when I reached out. It's like, I got to find out what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I find unique, and I want you to start back at the basics, but just to kind of couch our conversation today,
Mhm.
what I find unique about your work with the techniques of feng shui is that you really combine it with, like, business and mindset and
Mhm.
those types of things. And I'd love for you, well, first of all, to tell our viewers, or explain to our viewers what feng shui is in case they don't know, and then to kind of talk about how it relates to business and how it relates to I think we were talking about preliminarily about how everybody is in transition and how that can help people to transition into more success. So I know I threw three questions at you. So let's start with, what is feng shui?
a lot of people think Feng Shui is like decorating your house, and people will ask me, Gail, is this lamp good Feng Shui, or is this pillow good Feng Shui? And I'm like, well, it's very personalized to your own energy, whether or not it's good Feng Shui. So classical Feng Shui, which is what I studied, because I've dabbled in Feng Shui like probably for 20 years. And I would always feel like, oh, sometimes it feels like it works. Sometimes it feels like it doesn't work. And when I got the opportunity to learn more about classical Feng Shui and do a chart for my house and implement the classical Feng Shui remedies, I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense. To me, the classical Feng Shui made so much more sense to do your Feng Shui by the compass directions based on the front door of your house. So there are different schools of Feng Shui. I think they all work on the intentional level, but I think the classical Feng Shui is just a little more precise.
Yeah.
So, but Feng Shui in general it's a very ancient practice. Goes back, as far as acupuncture and those types of techniques. But it's basically just looking at the energy flow of your house. And just like we do in acupuncture, we look for, a place where maybe the energy isn't flowing properly and that's causing a physical problem. We can have the same thing in our house, places where the energy isn't flowing, and that can cause a problem really in our lives as a reflection of that. So depending on where the energy in your home might be stuck, could be causing you to feel stuck in different areas of your life. So it's really interesting. And I also feel like when we start looking at our Feng Shui, we use the chart of the 9 areas. So this is a Bagua chart. But as we're going through each of these areas, it helps us to really get clear on what it is that we want to create in our lives in each of those areas. So that's kind of the intention setting and really bringing the physical objects and decorative things into our life that relate to, what it is that we really want to have and create. So, and then on just a practical level, we can look at everything that we own and just say, what's this item, saying to me? And do I still need it?
Oh, yeah. As I look around my office, we moved here about a little over a year ago, and we still have boxes that obviously if you don't open them in a year, you probably don't need what's in them. But I just opened a bunch of boxes and I put things in certain places, and it's like, I need Feng Shui in my office. So when you do your when you tie this into business and all of that, do you actually do this with like going through people's office spaces or going through their homes physically, or what's your approach with that?
Well, what I really do, because my business is completely online, is I pretty much teach you how to look at your own space and do your own Feng Shui.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is
awesome.
really fun. I have a couple different courses. I have my Decluttering Deep Dive course, and I'm working on a course right now that I'm rolling out that's intentional Feng Shui for each area of the home. And then the place where I could come in and help somebody is doing that actual classical Feng Shui chart, which is called a Flying Stars chart. And it's similar to, kind of to what you do with the
energy centers and the...
Yeah, you figure out what's going on with the energy of that home based on what year it was built, what direction it's facing, and you kind of do an energetic blueprint for the home.
That's really fascinating. Now you have my mind going, which is probably a dangerous place to be. But, and you held up the chart and you had like the 9 areas. The first thing I went to was like 9 energy centers in the human design chart. Yeah. But anyway,
It's all interrelated. It
Yeah.
definitely is. But I always like to start with, I feel like the first layer is clutter. So, and it's not that, oh, it's, something that you own is good or bad. It's just, what is it saying to you? And, is it something that is supporting you on your path to success? Because we are changing and growing all the time. So something that we loved 5 years ago or even 6 months ago, we might have just moved on from that item.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that really speaks to us at one phase of life won't at another phase. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I feel like it's really important to just continually be looking at, is this something that is going with me on my next step or my next phase? And the energy that each item holds. Like I was thinking just a little while ago about, how the same things can have completely different meaning for people. So if I go to a secondhand store and I buy some clothes that I like, for me, that might have the meaning of, I'm so smart with money. I love these new clothes. I'm going to look great. But for somebody else, that might have the energy of, oh, all I can afford is used clothes.
Yeah.
And they're the exact same clothes. So it's just whatever your things are saying to you. And
Yeah.
we can shift that energy just with our minds.
Yeah, and just shifting that perspective. How do you weave that into like the courses that you teach and things like that? How do you weave the mindset piece in? Or is it just something that just flows so naturally that you?
Yeah, it's just kind of a part of everything that I would talk about or teach or share. I always feel like I'm always selling courses like, okay, I'll teach you how to, create an online course and sell it. But at the same time, you can't do that if you can't get somebody into the mindset of, that their information has value and they're, allowed to make money in this way and all of those mindset things. So
Yeah. Yeah, so it just sort of naturally is part of everything that you bring forward. I actually want to just break for a second and invite you guys who are watching. If you have questions, you can post them in the comments, and Gail will be happy to answer your questions. We're talking about Feng Shui and how it relates to these times of transition and why it's pertinent right now, and how it relates to being successful, or how you can use it to be more successful in your life as you transition maybe from one phase to another. I mean, we're all transitioning from one phase to another now. We might not even know what that next phase is. So how do you relate Feng Shui to success?
well, I think it's taking the different areas of life. So the Bagua chart. So we've got, let's just, for example, the Southeast relates to wealth and prosperity. So that obviously ties into success. Where, most of us are trying to create a certain level of wealth, a certain level of security and financial income each month. So as we do Feng Shui, we can, look at that area of our home and figure out if you have in your wealth area something that reminds you of, I don't know, times when you were really broke or just isn't conducive to bringing in that energy of creating success and wealth, you can make changes in that area of your home. And so when you do that, you're setting those intentions, and you're really, what I like about Feng Shui is, by putting certain items in certain areas, we can write our intentions down in a notebook. We can say them in our, in our mind. We can set those intentions. But I feel like doing that physical work it's just another way of locking in those intentions.
Wow. Wow. You just enlightened me to something, because when we built our house, I was very intentional about putting my office in the wealth corner, in the southeast corner. But I have not been down here. Like, this is the first time I've been down here in days, because, and I'm not sitting at the desk I normally sit at in the corner with my, where I can see all of the entrances and stuff, because there are two blank walls behind me. And I'm just sharing this as my own experience, my own energetic experience. I don't feel stable in that corner. Like, I keep thinking I need to get a tree, something to put back there to kind of anchor that corner, man. And then I'm looking around and I'm thinking, like a lot of people who follow me are human design projectors, and one of the things we have is this energetic inconsistency a lot of times with income, and I'm no different from anyone else. And I'm looking at my office going, no wonder there's chaos everywhere in here. So now I'm motivated.
Exactly. So having that realization and realizing, oh, this area is really important, and just, to me, it's very motivating to be like, okay, this is my love area, and it doesn't need to be full of, I don't know, old recycling or.
Yeah.
And then as we do that, so then another layer to it is, as we're aware of what all these areas are, we're just naturally more motivated to keep our space, cleaner, and, the energy flowing. And then that energizes us physically and mentally to take more action and create more results.
Yeah. Because there's something that that I think clicks into place when the environment is just right. And for those of us who like, for those of you who are watching who are human design people, you if you have an undefined G center, if that diamond is white, environment is so important. Like feeling what you need to feel, having what you need to have in your environment to feel good, to feel grounded, to feel centered, to feel stable is so important. Or to feel like you're in the flow. It's just, it means everything in terms of how your energy functions. So I'm putting these two things together as we're talking. So keep going.
Often, it's when you live somewhere, you can just get kind of like, what's that thing they say in the Febreze commercial where you get nose blind? we can just get so used to our environment that, we might not notice how it's affecting our energy, or like, oh, we've always had that bookshelf full of stuff right there, and we just never think to go through it or rearrange it, or, it's just really easy to not realize the effect that your environment's having on you.
Yeah. And so then the first step you said is decluttering, is to go through with the mindset, with the intention of really identifying what's serving you that you want to keep, and letting go of the rest.
Yeah, because we often hang on to stuff just out of habit, or, even out of a scarcity mindset. Oh, if I let this stuff go, I might not be able to afford new things, or get anything better in the future. So it really brings up a lot of our stuff as we declutter.
Well, this is so timely. Tomorrow I'm going to be meeting my husband up at his father's home. His father passed away earlier this year, and they're settling the estate. And one thing I've been telling my husband, because he does have a tendency to hold on to things, is that we have to be very clear about what we're going to bring into our new home from that home. Because that's what we're going up there for. Because I know that when it gets here, it's going to stay.
And that is often how we end up with, with extra stuff. It just kind of comes from here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
And my mom will be like, "Oh, brought you a bag of magazines, and she'll just leave them on my porch.
Because she didn't want them.
Yeah.
She didn't want them, so there you go. she was cleaning out. Hi, Dorothy. Yeah, Dorothy says my bedroom is in the southeast corner. Any suggestions?
Yeah, so my bedroom's also in the southeast corner. And one thing that I always recommend too is to be really aware of the first thing you see when you wake up in the morning and the last thing you see when you go to bed at night. So I had a client who was just overwhelmed with clutter and she didn't know where to start. And I said to her, I said, could you, her dresser was in front of her bed. I said, could you just do the top of your dresser? So that when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you feel isn't overwhelmed. The first thing you see is, a nice, clear, fresh space with a few things that symbolize, what she wants in her life. And she did that. And, and she was like, you know what? Once I realized I could do that, I was able to do another little area. And it always kind of snowballs like that, I've noticed. So as far as the bedroom in the southeast corner, we always think about decluttering first. And then putting some things in there that make you feel wealthy and prosperous. So it might be a picture of a great vacation you went on, or, I have a little jewelry tree that works out well because it's my bedroom, but I put that, right in the southeast in the wealth and prosperity area. And so just, we can look around and find things that, oh yeah, that makes me feel like $1 million. I'm going to put that in my corner. And then fresh flowers are always nice. Fresh flowers make me feel really abundant. So I buy just a bouquet or two at the grocery store each week, and then I scatter them about my house. I can get like 5 flower arrangements out of a grocery store. Okay. So, and little things like that really, can make us just feel more abundant, more wealthy. And then, of course, that gets us into the energy of attracting more wealth.
Yes. So just to be clear, the southeast corner, you mentioned it before, but it is the wealth corner in the classical feng shui. Yeah. So that.
And if you know the areas of your house, you can just download a compass app. And it's easy to just figure out the different areas of your house. So, and I feel like with the intentional feng shui, it's not something you can mess up.
I like that word, intentional. Is that what you call your work, intentional feng shui?
Well, that's kind of what we call it when we're using things that are symbolic to us, and we're setting the intentions by using these certain symbols. Like when you're using art, when you're using maybe putting crystals or, the things that make you feel wealthy and abundant, that's all intentional. Now, if we get into more of the classical feng shui and we do the full chart in that house, it might be like, oh, this area needs water, flowing water to balance something that's going on there. But I feel like that's kind of almost the highest level. It would be like if you weren't well, maybe you would change your diet first. And if that wasn't working, then you might go for acupuncture or something a little more intense. So I don't feel like everybody needs necessarily the full classical feng shui chart unless there's some area of your life where you're like, okay, I've decluttered, I've done the intentional feng shui, I've got the energy flowing in my house, and I still feel stuck. Then we might say, okay, let's do the full chart and see if there's something going on that we need to put in a remedy like metal or earth or water.
Yeah. And it seems almost, in a way, when you say, well, we'll put in a remedy like air or, metal or earth or water, it seems sort of magical in a way. So is there a way that you can explain that because I know there are practical underpinnings to that. So I'm wondering if there's a way that you can explain what these remedies are about.
Well, what we look at in classical Feng Shui is there's different number combinations for each area of the house. So depending on the year, a certain number combination in a certain area might just call for a particular remedy. And honestly, it's not something that I can explain.
It's complicated. It's kind of like the human design chart. Explain it on a live stream in
Like, this is what
10 minutes or less.
They figured out the system. The Feng Shui masters have figured out the system. And if you have a 5, a 5, and a 3, that area gets metal. And the purpose of it is that it's going to shift the energy in that area.
So it sounds like those remedies have something to do with like some sort of form of numerology, some sort of form of and numerology or numbers are the sacred language of the universe. You know, that really can identify different vibrations and frequencies. So okay, so I'm getting that now. It's like, okay, you go underneath, you look at the numbers, you bring them together, and then you identify what the remedy is. Awesome.
And as a Feng Shui consultant, we also look at, our clients' goals and their issues that they're having in their life. Because sometimes there's actually a choice, like, oh, you could go with metal or you could go with earth in a certain area. Not every area of the house always needs to be remedied. If there's an area of the house that isn't used very much, or it doesn't feel like it's having a negative effect, then it's like, why mess with it?
Yeah. Just leave it as it is.
Yeah.
Now, you have the online, you have your Feng Shui Elevation. It's a course and it's a membership, right?
Yeah. So at Feng Shui Elevation, I have my Elevate membership, where I teach online business, basically how to start an online business. And then I felt like, well, like you were saying, how do you integrate the mindset? How do you integrate all the other stuff? And I thought, well, the most important things to me that I feel like affect my ability to take action and to create the things that I want in my life are my mindset practices and the Feng Shui. So I was like, I'm just going to combine them all into one program. So there's kind of 3 areas. And I've designed it for people to be able to just join, and it's like, take what you need. If you're wanting to put together an online course, then you can jump into the online course creation. If you need to put together an email opt-in, you can jump into that. But then I've also got my Declutter and Deep Dive courses. So I wanted something that would be really comprehensive for people and just combine everything that has helped me over the past 6 or 7 years of, building up my online businesses.
Interesting. So it's comprehensive, and it sounds like it's really flexible as well.
Yeah.
Tailored to your interests. Now, do you also do private consulting?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And where can people find out about that? I mean, can you do that online, or do you have to do it? Do you have to go to the home, or?
I don't have to go to the home. Luckily, we can do it all online with using Google Maps and all these great tools that we have now. So for a consultation, what I need from people is, their exact address, so I can do the compass readings online. And then I also need a drawing of their floor plans.
Okay.
And
yeah.
So when you sign up for a consultation, I'll just let you know what you need, what I need to get from you, and we kind of work together on that.
Great. And the details about that are at fengshuielevation.com.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So Mike says, I have the bed in the command position.
Well, there are, we have some kind of go-to rules, I guess you would say, in Feng Shui. As far as like, a good position for the bed is normally where you can see the door, where you're not underneath the window. But I've also found that there are exceptions to all of those rules based on different things. So,
yes, he says, yeah.
So like in my room, for example, like it's not ideal to have your bed here and the door here. But my other choices were under the windows and in a bad direction for me based on my personal trigram, or in front of the bathroom door. Also, I was like, well, there's no good place to put the bed. Then we just have to choose, the best for that situation and for that room.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to get into all of those little details. But
and I imagine like if it's not quite, if there's no ideal place, then there's some kind of a remedy or some kind of a something that you can do to get that energy to flow a little better for you.
Yeah, and I actually just hung some curtains to kind of just soften the energy coming into the bedroom, and I hung a little crystal because it's just as kind of symbolic. You don't want that energy rushing into you all night while you sleep.
Right.
Like rushing through that doorway. So, and that's one thing to look at. Like people are always saying, oh, where should I put my furniture and things like that. So I always say you just kind of want to think of, if I were some chi, some good energy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to come into your house. You want the chi to come into your house, not too fast, not too slow, and just be able to meander about and go through all of the different areas of your home. So you don't want anything that's really going to block the energy or make it like zoom through too fast.
Interesting. So so everybody can kind of get a feel for that. I want to encourage everybody to, after you get off of this live stream, just go through your house and see how that feels.
Yeah. And really, and to me, that's really what you just said is the most important thing is, how does this make me feel?
Yeah.
For every room of your house, for your furniture arrangement. Because honestly, I mean, there are people that are incredibly successful, have beautiful homes that have never heard of Feng Shui, have no interest in Feng Shui, but they probably have great Feng Shui.
Yeah, and you walk into their home and it feels good. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So just to finish up, one more question or I just want to ask you for one more comment, because I skipped Joe's comment on how she says she has loads of stuff that she needs to get rid of. Do you have a suggestion to help her or anyone in her position to get started with getting rid of stuff?
Definitely. I think the one thing that keeps most people from getting rid of stuff is just straight overwhelm. When you have a lot of rooms to go through or a lot of stuff to sort through, it can be really hard to know like where to even begin. So to me, it would be a matter of picking one area, pick a room, pick even a closet or a shelf. And I start with, okay, well, what's like, I need to do a full house declutter right now. But I'm going to say,
it never stops.
Okay, what areas are bugging me the most today? Like what annoying me the most, making me feel frustrated? For me, that would be my laundry room. It's just a junk collecting place. So, and then the first and easiest thing to do is just get rid of anything that is either it's trash, or it's just really obvious, like, yeah, I don't need this anymore. And just do that top layer of things that you don't really have to think about. Because when you're getting into thinking about, oh gosh, do I need this? How many frying pans do I need? That can take longer. But if you can do that first layer of just stuff that like, I definitely don't want it anymore. And, oh, I meant or You know, like my son used to like to keep all the boxes that all of his Lego sets come in. And, you know, so stuff like that can pile up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything is really obvious. So do that top layer. And then for the rest, you know, I like to go through kind of logically. You know, it's easy to get too many of things. So to say like, okay, well, how many coffee cups do I actually need? We have 3 people in this house, 2 that drink coffee.
Do we need 35?
So just going through logically, and then I'll be like, okay, well, I've decided that we need 6 coffee cups. So I'm going to pick my 6 favorite. And then the rest need to go and live a useful life somewhere else.
So it sounds like you're saying keep it simple, keep skimming off the top, and do a little at a time.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, and there's other little tricks and tips. You know, if there's stuff you're really not sure about, you can, you know, make a maybe box and pack it away for a few months and then go back to it. And, you know, so things like that, I feel like can help us to keep going. You know, if we give ourselves permission to have a maybe box, we can put those things in the maybe box and move on.
Well, you know, that's a really good point. What you said about it helps us to keep going because it's almost like just that movement is sort of a feng shui in action. You know, when we think about our spaces being this place where good qi wants to come in and meander and flow, if we're also doing that by, you know, skimming off the top, keeping that movement going, continually releasing what we don't need, then it's kind of like we're the being the feng shui in motion almost.
Definitely. And I've had a lot of people going through like my decluttering deep dive course. And so many people are like, you know, I only plan to do 1 shelf today. And I ended up doing the whole closet because you just started going and it feels good.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do more. I want to get rid of more stuff. Like once you get going, it definitely picks up.
So Mike says that the cat finds the stagnant energy. So there's a tip. Get a cat.
I love animals are very good feng shui.
And one shelf at a time. Excellent. Absolutely. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else do you want to cap this off with anything before we close it up? Let's do it that way.
I would just say that, you know, having good feng shui is, you know, surrounding yourself with things that make you feel good and related to success that help to motivate you. And, you know, even little habits like making sure all your dishes are done at the end of the night can help you have a more successful day the next day. So it's just a matter of, you know, continually adding different mindset habits to keep your environment high vibe, and success habits that add up to creating the life that you really want.
Awesome. Thank you. So if you're interested in learning more, you can go and check out Gail's website at fengshuielevation.com, where she has her courses.
I have a few free gifts at my website. So come by and check those out. I have a 7-day dream life design class. I have a decluttering planner. So
awesome. I need that. I'm coming.
You can print it out and it will take you through each room of your house with checklists and things. So, and another video that you can watch there.
Great.
Well. Check those out.
Great. Well, thank you. That's very generous of you. And thank you, everybody who is here and those of you who are going to join us later. And Gail, it has been such a pleasure. I'm so glad you agreed to come on and share your expertise in feng shui and business and success. So, yeah, awesome. Well, we're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody. And more to come.